With her shovel in hand, she roams the universe, exploring every land, no map, no reverse. Oh, dig a 420, curious Canuck. Answers on your mind, never getting stuck. Riding waves of stars through the cosmic sea, finding who we are in the galaxy. She's got questions to ask and a fire that won't die, unraveling each task under the sky. Oh, dig a 420, curious Canuck. Answers on your mind, never getting stuck. Riding waves of stars through the cosmic sea, finding who we are in the galaxy. She's got questions to ask and a fire that won't die, unraveling each task under the sky. Oh, dig a 420, curious Canuck. Answers on your mind, never getting stuck.
Because, you know.
Pussy, 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 pussy.
There you go, Stingy. There you go. I like the pussy better than the lizard, 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 lizard. That's fun. But do you have it on a 10-hour loop? How's everyone doing? It's Thursday afternoon for me, evening for everyone else, because I'm always last. It has been an interesting day. Thankfully, my little patch of the world has worked relatively okay today. I'll fill you guys in on Johnny's situation. I'll give it a couple of minutes, let everyone kind of roll in. It is Thursday. It is a lot of fun because it is almost Friday, and Friday for me is preparation day, and that means I get to clean the house, which I know doesn't sound wonderful, but it is a thing for me. I really do like having a tidy house. You can see I've got a lot of stuff, but it's all tidy, and it's dusted and vacuumed and stuff, and that way, I can attend church in my living room and not feel bad about it. It might be a holdover. I used to clean my home church. I was the cleaner for the home church for a few years back in the day. So maybe that's just it. But I don't feel right about attending church here if I haven't cleaned here, So it's just me being weird, but it is what it is. And I do look forward to Friday and cleaning up day because it means the end of the week is here. And we get to just take a deep breath and relax for a minute. Now, let's see here. I will say hello. We've got MJ is here first, always. Good to see you, MJ, and Dazer. Good to see you. Hello, Prey and Stingy. I feel like, and Fill Some Holes. Good to see you. I kind of feel like what was the name of that children's show where she looked in the mirror and she said, and I see so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. I can't remember the name of that kid's show. I want to say the Polka Dot Door, but that wasn't it. Yeah, I can't for the life of me remember what the name of that show was. But I think it was a British one, or maybe it was a Canadian one. Either way. I feel like that lady. I should have a mirror that I'm talking to through you. Or talking through to you. So yeah, I was up and ready to do a stream this morning as per usual. Especially, I was not sure if I was going to do it or not because we have the fund day tomorrow. However, as some of you know, Johnny's PC kind of shot the bed and crapped out, and he was able to get it up and running again for the other day's stream. But it shot the bed again, and he is at the point now. It sounds like he may have to. He may be at the point of a factory reset. There's a few more things he can try, and he's got Brian the Science giving him some ideas as well. So hopefully he can get it figured out. Otherwise, it's a factory reset and an entire weekend of resetting everything, rebuilding everything, putting it all together again, which really sucks. So what that means for the Game Over podcast is there will not be a fundraising day tomorrow. There will not be a stream at all tomorrow. We will have to rebook the funding stream once he gets his PC back up and running. It's just, yeah, one thing after another. And like we all saw the other day, the PC shot the bed and we had to start the whole streams over again. It's done that again. So we will let you know when we are putting the fund stream back on. We'll let you guys know. And for the foreseeable future, at least definitely tomorrow, there will not be a stream for Just Kidding LLC. Hello, Mr. Q. How you doing? Yeah, it really sucks. It's it's a bitch and a half, and it's been little issues with different things, and now suddenly it's just so he's reset it a couple of times and done a few things, but I know nothing about computers, so that's about as good as I can tell you. He's done some things and tried some stuff, and that's all I know. But yeah, worst case scenario, he's going to have to do the factory resets and spend the weekend redoing it. Hello, Rex Start parody account. How you doing? Can't trust those Gateway computers. Is that what it is? See, I don't know about Gateway. We have Dell here. I've got, mine is called, oh shoot, what is it here? It's an Predators. There you go. I've got a Predator with the Acer insides. So yeah, it's kind of one of those Gateway computer type of things. Frey, you don't know anything about computers either? Yeah, I need to keep this as simple as possible. I need to keep it as plug and play as humanly possible. StreamYard is expensive AF, but it makes it easy for someone like me who wants to. All I do is I talk to you guys and I have guests on. So StreamYard does everything I need it to do, and I don't need to think about anything. I just turn it on, set it, and forget it, right? Johnny knows what he's doing with computers, and he knows, how to play. He's got all sorts of stuff like a Rodecaster and this, that, and the other thing. So he's got a lot more stuff that could potentially go wrong. And now it's just a matter of troubleshooting. I don't know if it is a Gateway. I think Rexstart was just teasing about it. It's a pretty decent computer from what I understand. So, but yeah, and then as for the family emergency, Ivy's okay. The cats are fine. It is Ivy's mom who is in the hospital at the moment. We're not really sure what's wrong. It didn't really get much info, just that she is in hospital. And that, of course, means that Johnny will have to be taking care of Ivy as well, a lot more than normal. So, yeah, there is that. Those of you that do pray, please pray for Johnny and his ex, that she can heal up really quickly and get back to, normal life. And yeah, pray that Johnny can get his computer fixed with, little cost, ideally no cost, because for 5/6s, I'm so sorry. This is my landlord calling me now and I have to answer it. So I will be right back. I'm so sorry. There we go. That was the property manager. They are going to be turning off my water. Apparently, they found a leak in the crawl space, so they're going to turn off my water and fix that right now. So don't mind the water running in the background sounds. I'm just filling some pots so that I've got water to, you know, wash with and stuff if it stays off all night. Thankfully, I haven't had hot water in, in a couple of months now. Yeah, it's been at least 2 months that I've been showering at my neighbor's house because there is no hot water. So the fact that I was finally able to get a hold of people. It's a whole big long thing. The property manager wasn't responding to any of my calls or anything like that, and so they're repairing another suite in the complex, and I went through the repairman and talked to the owner. So they came yesterday. Was it? Yeah, it was yesterday while I was on stream with Johnny. They came to look at it, and I guess they were looking in there today, and they're going to plug that hole that they found in the crawl space, and hopefully that's it. I'm kind of thinking that's not it. I kind of have a feeling it's more than just a little hole, a little leak, because it's been a long time coming. This issue has been a slow roll. I've been boiling water the last 2 winters. I've had to boil water to wash myself and dishes and whatnot. So it's been a fun thing, and I don't think a little hole in a pipe is going to be enough to fix it, but you never do know. And in the meantime, there is a hole. They found it and they are fixing it. So that's a step closer towards, actually getting it permanently repaired. And yes, Mr. Q, wouldn't it be lovely if I could have a hot water, like an actual hot shower in my own clean shower before Halloween? It has been years and years and years of them trying to figure out what's wrong. So, I'm not going to hold my breath, but yes, it would be really lovely if this were finally solved. It's an issue that I am tired of dealing with. And it's especially a pain in the ass when you're boiling water to wash your face and hair. And it's like 30 degrees Celsius outside, 32 degrees Celsius outside. So yeah, it's not fun, and hopefully they'll finally figure it out and fix it. Brian the Science said something about there being a pump to pump the hot water out of the hot water tank and up into my place. So I mentioned that to them. I don't know anything about anything though. And of course, this is an old, I've been here 11 years, and there was an old lady that came by and asked if she could come and see my place. She had raised her daughter here in my suite. Like, it would have been 45 years ago. She raised her daughter in my suite. So this suite has been a suite for a very long time. I'm in a complex of townhomes, and mine is one of the end units. It's the only one that was split into 2. So mine's an almost 1 bedroom, and the one below me is a bachelor. And yeah, because this was all done like 50 odd years ago. It was done slightly different to what code is now, and things have been changed so much in those years that Lord knows what the plumbing works actually look like under there. That being said, I don't have access to my own to either of the hot water tanks or anything like that, so I'm kind of just crossing my fingers and hoping. So in the meantime, like I said, she just called and said they're going to turn off my water and plug that leak, and maybe that'll help. So I've got everything filled that I can fill. So I'm good. I can sit down again and turn the camera back on. Let's see here. Yeah, it's fun, but I can't, I can't afford to leave here. Honestly, it's such cheap rent. I couldn't afford to live on my own if I moved out of here. Anywhere else that I moved to with what I bring in each month for disability, I wouldn't be able to afford my own place. I would have to have a roommate. And at 46 years old, I do not want another roommate. I think I'm past the roommate point. I would like to think. So yeah, crossing fingers. The rent here is really, really, really cheap. The old landlord was a friend of the family, and so he gave me this place with a much cheaper rent than he would have given anyone else. And then he never raised the rent for any of us in the complex. He never raised the rent. He would raise it when people moved out to a reasonable price. Well, once he sold the place, the new people have been in BC. You're allowed to raise your tenant's rent once a year, and there's a max percentage that you're allowed to raise it. And since the old landlord sold it to the new people, they've been raising that rent every single year without fail. But because it was so cheap, even though they're raising it every year without fail, it's still at least half of what I would be paying anywhere else. So, and I've been here for 11 years. I love this little place. It's my little place. Even the death stairs, I figured out how to manage the death stairs for the most part. So I'd rather not have to move and find a new place and find a roommate and all that crap. It's yeah, it's a thing. So yes, as for Johnny, prayers are always welcome. Anyone who is inclined is much appreciated. Things just keep stacking up for him. On the flip side, like I said, they're going to turn off my water. There is potential that I may have hot water before Halloween. It would be great. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, unfortunately, it wasn't the water heater. That was like the first thing we thought. The problem started happening years and years ago. My suite, the bottom suite, and the laundry room were all on one big water tank. And that water tank blew a leak and soaked my death stairs because it sits right underneath, soaked the death stairs and kind of flooded the downstairs apartment and stuff. So they replaced that hot water tank with a new one. But at that time, they also put in a half-size tank that was supposed to run the laundry room. So me and the guy downstairs were going to run off the new regular size hot water tank. But ever since that has been done, I've had nothing but problems. The hot water is becoming harder and harder to get, and it's been cooling off for years. Like I said, the last couple of winters, I've been boiling water if I need to do greasy dishes. And the same thing, boiling water to, wash my hair and stuff because the water's just not coming out hot enough. It's not been fun. It's not been a fun time. So yeah, it'll be really nice if they can figure it out and fix it. Mr. Q says I put in 8 tubular skylights yesterday. Oh, and seal coated 3 small driveways. Holy crap. Today I tore down a small playground and I'm going to build a small playground tomorrow outside of a church. Holy Hannah, dude, you're busy. That's awesome. I remember you're saying something about the skylights. Now, when you say 8 tubular skylights, do you mean like they're just arched, like they're a half a cylinder sort of thing? You've got me curious with tubular skylights. So if I can do all that, what is your property manager stock? I don't know. I really don't know. And no one said anything when she came in with the owner yesterday to check to make sure that it really was nothing but cold water. Nothing was said. Everything was smiley. But the fact that I had to go through some construction worker talking to his project manager, who got me in contact with the owner of the construction company, who is one of the owners of the building. The fact that I had to jump through so many hoops just to get someone here, does not bode well. And I don't know. I'm half of the mind that she's doing it on purpose, because if they can get rid of me, they can fix this place up, and they can get way more money for it than what they're getting from me. So that's on my worst, most negative days. That's what I feel like they're doing. On my best days, most charitable days, it's just, they just don't know. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing, because they've had so many people come in and look at it. So look at my plumbing, look at both tanks, look at everything. They've had so many people coming in and looking at it all over the years. And every time someone comes in to look at it all, they have a different idea and they do it, and it doesn't make any difference. Every single time, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. So I don't know. And I don't know. I don't know what to do with the fact that she's just not responding to me, right? Other than finally someone moved out. We don't move out very often because, of course, we've got cheap fucking rent, right? So no one's moving out. But my little brothers moved out. And so they actually had someone here working on the unit, and I was finally able to do that, frog leap to the point where I can talk to someone who knows someone who owns the building. But I don't know if that's going to change. I don't know if I don't know. I don't know nothing. I don't know if she's just never going to respond to me again. This time, I don't know if they're going to fix it this time, or if it's just going to be another, this might do it, and then ignore me for another year. I don't know. But it's a pain in the arse. I only had one helper kid, and he wasn't even that good of a helper kid to do all that stuff. Yeah. Well, that's the thing though with helper kids, is they're kids. So you got to teach them. You got to teach them everything from the absolute basics on up. And if you get a decent helper kid, you can train them up right. They'll turn into a good worker. Mr. Q saying, I've installed gas water heaters around here. They're great, cheap, and instant. Yeah. Well, everyone else has hot water. The laundry room has hot water. The guy downstairs has hot water. It's just me. So, and that's really frustrating when I can go downstairs and wash my laundry in super hot water, but I can't wash my face without boiling it. It's, it's kind of a pain in the arse, kind of frustrating. The small ones for a single bedroom apartment work great and probably cost $15 a month to run all that hot water you want. Yeah. Well, and that's another nice thing that we've got here. I'm not paying for the water. The owner pays for the water for all of the units. I don't know why, but it's we don't pay it. It's covered in the rent, I guess. So all I have to worry about is covering my electricity and any internet, phone. So it's believe you me, I don't get a whole lot on disability. And I don't I don't go out. I don't, do things and stuff like that. But I've got everything I absolutely need here. So yeah, it's really, I've managed to make a good home here, and I don't really want to have to go and find a new one. Can I bring my disability to the US? Not sure. That's one of the many things we're looking at. There's so many things we're looking at. I mean, Johnny still hasn't been able to find a wheelchair accessible apartment for rent, let alone one that he can afford. It's really kind of frustrating and hard. His daughter is in Minnesota, so in all reality, him coming here is not. It's just not feasible. It's not. Um, he needs to stay close to his daughter. So we're looking at a bunch of different things. We've looked at every option you can imagine, and a few that just seem silly. we've even we've even jokingly, but I was looking at oh shoot, what's that? Port something. It's a town in Washington State. Here, I'll look it up because it's just so weird. It's a town in Washington State. It's surrounded on 3 sides by ocean, and its 4th side, the only land side, is actually Canadian. So you can't leave the town by land without leaving the States, entering Canada. It's an interesting thing. Let's see. Washington State town. Yeah, split with Canada. It's on the tip of my tongue. I want to say Alberni, but that's not it. Alberni is the one on fire right now. Point Roberts. There we go. It's not Port, it's Point. We even looked at Point Roberts. Getting him to move to Point Roberts and living there. And then I could live in the town is Tsawwassen. The Canadian town is Tsawwassen. And I could live there and I could just cross the border on the daily to come visit him. Like we're looking at absolutely anything. Happy Thursday, Neurodivergent One. Good to see ya. And definitely hit the like, hit the repost, follow, smash it all. Do all the good stuffs that help this to, reach more people. Because that would be lovely too. If he or I or, both of us could like suddenly become streamer famous, that would be lovely. That would help things. But we live in reality, right? We live in reality. So we've got to work with what we've got. And at the moment, it is very, very difficult for a Canadian on disability and an American on disability living in their respective countries to figure out how to, get together. So there's a few more plans, ideas, theories that we're working on. But yeah, that's where we're at. He's yeah. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Everything works out the way it's supposed to. Maybe not the way we want it to work out, but it does work out. So we'll figure it out. It's probably going to mean that I'm going to have to go to the States for an unknown period of time. That just makes the most sense. And if that's the case, each American state does disability differently. So I can't get a for sure yes or no on whether mine would be transferable from Canada to the States. Probably it won't be too hard to transfer because I've been on it for so long now. I've got all the medical records and everything proving illnesses, and I've been on the disability here for quite a number of years. So I don't foresee there being too much trouble other than, jumping through governmental hoops. But I mean, you have to do that no matter what. The government likes their hoops. So, but yeah, we're looking at different things. If, maybe I can get some sort of carer job, or I mean, I clean houses here, one of the things is there I would have access to a vehicle so I could clean more houses. The problem with where I live right now is unless they want to pick me up and bring me to their home or business to so that I can clean, the houses have to be close to me. So I clean for a few neighbors, that sort of thing. Oh, Mr. Q's having issues with people mowing the lawns too short for August. Yeah. Yeah, we were having that conversation too, eh? There's that fine line between too short and too long. Um, with the lawns, too short, it's just going to die off. It's going to be yellow and you know, gross looking. Too long, and you've got the ticks and all the other lovely insects moving in. But yeah, I've actually the patch where my garden is. Um, it's just this little piece of land with the creek slash river, depending on the time of year. Um, so I've been cutting that lawn. Um, I've tried so many different things. I've tried raking. I've tried loppers and stuff, and I've found that the easiest way for me to keep it mowed is just to rip it with my hands. Um, so yeah, that's a lot of fun because I get to dig into really lovely, long, deep um, grass and cross my fingers that I'm not going to get bit by anything while I'm doing it. I've um, I've dehomed quite a few spiders and that sort of thing, but thankfully, knocking on wood, I haven't gotten bit by anything yet. I won't. Especially those stupid earwigs. I hate those things. I will instantly switch any place I live into a natural gas water heater from now on. They're really cheap and efficient, and they barely break too. Yeah, we natural gas is the favored in modern housing out here. I mean, we've got hydro. We've got, hydropower coming out our arse. It's literally we can't. And yet we buy 32% of our electricity, hydroelectricity. My province buys 32% of it from you guys in the States, even though we make so much that we're selling it to other countries. It doesn't make any sense. Why are we buying from you if we've got it all already? Doesn't make any sense. But that's how it works. But either way, so most of BC switched over to natural gas through the late 90s, more like the 2000s, 2010s. And now they're trying to put the oil heaters back in that, or at least that's what Trudeau was trying to do, which is ridiculous. They're not anywhere near as efficient. They don't work as well in temperatures and all sorts of things. I don't know anything about it, but it's the same with my government is now pushing solar power and how great solar power is. And if you put solar panels on your roof, you can feed your excess into the grid, and then you can get savings on your electricity bills and stuff. Except that we saw how that worked in the States, and we saw how that didn't really work. Well, yeah, we saw how it didn't really work in the States. A lot of people are not impressed with the how much they put in versus the discounts that they get back in, and they're working for the power company a lot of times. So yeah, my country's just, it is what it is. So thankfully we've got the natural gas in most places, most buildings, and then the old ones like the place that I'm living in, they're still pretty efficient, I guess. I mean, I have to hang my blankets on the outer walls to help keep the heat in, but what can you do with a building that's over 50 years old? Working toilets are needed, and that's the one good thing. I mean, it's a pain in the ass, and this water situation has been a thing that's been going on forever, and it's frustrating, and it's angering, and it's this, that, and the other thing. Try waking up in the middle of the night to go pee, not turning the lights on, and stepping in a pile of cat puke and fur ball, and then having to hop into the bathroom and wash said foot off with ice cold water. Not fun. It's not fun when it happens during the day, and it's especially not fun when it happens at night. And all you want to do is roll out of bed, go pee, and roll back into bed. It's not fun. But at least I've had water. There has been water. It's not hot, but it is there. And the toilet's always flushing, which is great because I have IBS and I need a efficiently working toilet at all times. Little round holes. They go 4 feet through the ceiling and you have to insulate. Oh, yeah, I've seen those skylights. Yeah. Okay. We were looking at those for my mom and my stepdad's old place. They ended up doing the larger rectangular just because it was more efficient. But they were looking at those. I in my mind, I call them the pothole skylights because yeah, they're tubes, and they go straight through the ceiling. So you've got little. It's like spotlight lights instead of the whole big window. They're supposed to be more efficient too, I guess. Yes, I'm really hoping they'll figure it out and get it fixed. I'm not holding my breath because it's been years with it just getting worse. So I'm not going to hold my breath, but I am hoping and praying that they can fix it. Yeah. That's all I can do. I mean, I really, like I said, I can't afford to move out, not without finding a roommate. And I'm too old to have a roommate. I cannot deal with that bullshit. Oh my goodness. These buildings are much more taken care of, and the gas and electric comes free with the apartment because they pay almost $2,000 a month in rent. Yeah. Yeah. Again, yeah, I'm not paying for any of my water. So that's a good thing too. When I have to, for a few years, I had to turn on the tap on the full on hot and then just walk away and hang out, wait for a few minutes until it started to get warm before it would start to get warm. And last winter was the first winter where it wouldn't even steam up the bathroom mirror. When I turned on the tap, wouldn't even steam up the mirror. So, it's a pain in the arse, but at least I'm not paying for that, all that extra water. Hello, MJ. Back again. Good to see you. Mr. Q saying, and if Johnny does find an apartment that he can't afford that's on the first floor, it's going to be in a place where he doesn't want to live because they're pretty scuzzy. Yeah, that's kind of it. It's apparently hard to find an affordable apartment for rent, just in general. And then adding to it the fact that it needs to be wheelchair accessible, and it's damn near impossible. Well, or so far it has been impossible. It's yeah. It's a thing. It's it's definitely a thing. But what can you do, right? This is the situation we're in and we will figure it out. Everything happens for a reason, and it's going to take until the last minute, but I'm hoping at the last minute we're going to find, just the right place. Oh, thank you. Pray saying, if I was rich, I'd help you too, kids. Well, I appreciate that. I thank you. Yeah, none of us are rich. It is what it is. Life is hard for everyone. And in the grand scheme of things, life could be a hell of a lot harder for both of us. So, it's tough, but we'll figure things out. International Falls in northern Minnesota has filled some holes. Is that a similar? I mean, there's also Niagara Falls, right? I could live on the Canadian side, although that would put me into New York State. I don't want to be in New York. I prefer not to be on the East Coast at all. Pray's asking me, how far am I from Minnesota? I'm about as far as you can possibly get. I'm in BC, so I am on the West Coast of Canada. I'm further west and north than Washington State, Seattle, Oregon, all of that. So I'm way, way, way far away from Minnesota. Nikki's son is going to Winnipeg right now for the International Truck Pull Championship thing. Oh, cool. So if I make it there by Sunday, he can give me a ride to Minnesota. All right. See, that's something else I'm looking at. I mean, the train is expensive. I mean, everything's expensive except flying, but I won't fly. I never did want to fly in the first place. I've always felt like flying is not a good idea for me. And with all the things in the news that we keep hearing about, all the accidents and things falling off in mid-flight and stuff like that. Yeah, flying is just not for me. The train is much more expensive than flying. Flying can be really stupid cheap. So I've also been looking at things like renting a car and driving. I've always wanted to do a road trip across North America. In my head, I always wanted to go from home all the way across to like Quebec and Nova Scotia, and then come back to Toronto, where I would cross the border and then come all the way back to the West Coast through the States. So, I mean, I've looked at the price of rental cars and doing that, but with the cost of gas, it's just ridiculous. That being said, if I were to rent a U-Haul, it'd be a heck of a lot cheaper to rent a U-Haul and do the road trip than it would to rent a rental car and do the road trip. So interesting things you learn when you're trying to figure out how to get somewhere cheap. I'm guessing probably at the end of the day, I'd pay more in gas for the U-Haul. And so it would end up not probably work out to pretty close to the same. But yeah, I've looked at a lot of stuff. I've looked at a lot of stuff. Don't mind me. I'm going to have my last beer. I bought a 6-pack for another event, and this one beer has been sitting in there for days and days now, just taking up space. So cheers to anyone who's drinking. I got to get that out of the way so I can get the groceries in. That's another weird thing. It's cheaper for me because I don't have a car. It is cheaper for me to have my groceries, like order my groceries online from Walmart and have them deliver it to me, than it is for me to take a cab to the Walmart, do my own shopping, and then take a cab from the Walmart back home with my groceries. It actually costs less to have Walmart do my shopping and have them deliver it to me, which is a pain in the ass because my dairy is always just about ready to go off, that sort of thing. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but it's weird the way the way society is being formed. They're really making it tough for everyone. So the hardships that I might run into are like nothing in comparison. As frustrating as No Hot Water might be, I'm blessed. I'm very blessed. As long as you're a Canadian citizen, you'll get your as long as I stay a Canadian citizen, that's another thing. What I could do was stay a Canadian citizen and come to stay with him for 6 months of the year. And then I'd have to come back to BC for a minimum of 6 weeks before I would be allowed to leave again. So, I mean, that's an option too. Changing my address, like moving in, so to speak, with one of my parents, and then every 6 months come back home here and couch surf with family for 6 weeks, 7 weeks. I mean, I'm looking at any options. I'm looking at anything and everything, anything that has the potential to be workable. We're looking at. I've looked into it. BC specifically, because that's the one I'm on. I'm on provincial disability, not federal. I can be out of the country for no more than 6 months at a time before it affects my disability. And I have to be home for a minimum of 6 weeks before I can go anywhere again. So, there's lots of options. Um, you know, we'll figure it out. Worst case scenario, if all else fails, I'll do a road trip and kidnap him and smuggle him into Canada. And then he can be a refugee, right? Because at least then he wouldn't have to worry about medical bills. But yeah, that's the thing. He's getting really, really worn out. MS is a bitch and a half. I can't imagine what he goes through, what AP goes through. Just I thought I had it tough. But it's amazing the shit that they have to put up with. And then Johnny can, still come on and put on a show and laugh and joke and be the fun and funny dude that he is. Yeah, I don't know that I could do it. So he's a pretty amazing dude. I'm impressed. AP as well. It's amazing. The stuff he does and gets up to, and his MS, I would be, if in his shoes, I would be inclined to just crawl into bed and not come out again. And yet he's up and going every day. He's constantly looking at new treatment options. He's made his own. I think he was looking at the newest pain patches. They've got teeny tiny little like fine needles that stick out, so it adheres and shoot, what is it? It adheres to the skin, but it deposits the medicine deeper in. He was looking at trying to make his own of those. It's it's amazing, and he just keeps going and looking for the next thing that's going to help, and the next thing. And yeah, pretty impressive dudes, the both of them. And it really does. I am very, very blessed. I can't imagine having to deal with all that, and then having to deal with things like every time you get sick and you go to the hospital and they run a test, you're getting hit with a stupid bill, like an insanely stupid bill. We were talking just yesterday. We covered the poor lady. She, well, I don't know about poor lady. Somehow or other, her 6-month-old ended up being within splashing distance of the rice cooker. So I don't know. I have issues with how the baby got to be within splashing distance of the rice cooker. But besides that, she rushed him to the hospital. The hospital said, we can't treat his burns here. We have to helicopter him to the other hospital. They wouldn't let her take him herself. They wouldn't let her leave with her baby and drive to the other hospital. They had to put her in the helicopter. And then when the helicopter got to the other hospital, she said, she and her lawyer both said it's like 0.5 of a click or something, like really short distance. Basically, it's across the parking lot from where the helicopter dropped her off to the front doors of the second hospital. But she wasn't allowed to walk across that space. They forced her to have an ambulance ride from the helicopter to the front doors. And all of that, the helicopter and the ambulance ride, over $100,000. I can't imagine having health issues and having to deal with all that. And then knowing that if you have a spell or whatever, and you end up in hospital, you're going to be hit with more bills. Like, that's just stress on top of stress on top of stress. I'm so blessed. I don't have much, but I've got everything I need and a little bit extra. And I know that if I get sick or hurt, I go to the hospital, and yes, I may spend 8 hours in emergency waiting to find out whether or not there's something wrong with my head. Um, but they ran they ran 2 separate cat scans on me, and a bunch of other stuff, X-rays and all sorts of good stuff in that 8 hours. And you know how much I paid? A whole whopping 0, nothing, nada. And to me, that's a given. It's just an assumption, you know. I get sick or I break an arm or something, I can go to the hospital and they're going to fix me. Um, period. I can't imagine you guys, you know, what happens when you break an arm, but you've got no money? How do you, you know, I mean, of course they'll bill you and interest and stuff like that. But like, how do you, when I was in the depth of my anxiety, the worst of the worst, I would have just huddled into a ball and stayed in bed. The concern that I might do something that would force me to have to go see a doctor and incur more bills. That stress is insane. So there's good and bad sides to being America, and there's good and bad sides to being a socialist Canada. I do appreciate our free healthcare. And yeah, worst case scenario, if I have to drive over there and smuggle him into the country so he can be considered a refugee, you know, we'll do what we have to do. Hello, Saint Aaron. How are you doing? Yes, I definitely have great neighbors. Yeah. Me and my neighbors, we've all lived here for a very long time. We know each other well. The kids, 2 doors over, when they moved in, they were in elementary school. The eldest just got his license. So it's, you know, like we've known each other. We've watched each other grow up. We get to know each other. We me and a few of the neighbors, we try and get together at least once a week to do a meal, have a couple of drinks, play Uno until the sun sets. You know, just little things. The fact that I have no hot water could have been so much worse, but I've got a lovely neighbor who doesn't mind my letting myself into her house while she's at work and borrowing her shower. You know, I'm so lucky to have neighbors that are, you know, able to help me out like that. I've got someone to take care of the girls if I ever chose to leave the house. And I mean, I watch the cats for a bunch of my neighbors. I watch their cats for them when they go out of town. You know, it's a nice little area. The other neighbor, he and I have kind of shared that little extra section by the creek into the gardens that we have, and we help each other out watering each other's gardens. You know, we're not able to or what have you. It's a really great place. And when the shit hits the fan, if I'm living here when the shit hits the fan, I know I've got a better than, I'd give myself a 75% chance of surviving the first 3 months if I'm living here and the shit hits the fan. Because I've got neighbors I can rely on and who can rely on me. We've got the ghetto deer who hang out in the yard, and they love it because there is no such thing as ghetto bear. The bears stay to the outskirts of town. I live in the ghetto, right downtown. So the ghetto deer they're nice. They're pretty tame. They'll feed us for quite a while. No one is better at bending you over than the government. Very, very true, Mr. Q. Very true. Centipede could go right up your arm, too fast to react. I'm not sure what you're talking about from that. That was about 20 minutes ago. Shooting the shit. But yeah, in the rural areas, it doesn't matter if you mow or not because there's going to be bugs no matter what. And in the city, they spray for bugs, so they don't need to mow the grass down to the dirt. Yeah, Yeah. See, and that's my problem this year. Um, I'm sure you've probably heard me bitch more than once this summer about the stink bugs. Um, we were fighting a what seemed like an unending war with the wasps who were living underneath, like in between the wall of the building and the siding, the vinyl siding. The wasps were living under the siding, and it was years of fighting these stupid wasps. I couldn't go outside my deck because they would dive bomb into the house. It was just ridiculous. We finally Last year was the first year where I really didn't have to I was not attacked by a single wasp. This year, I haven't been attacked by a wasp, but this year, because there aren't any wasps, the other insects have made a comeback, and the tiny little stink bugs, the baby stink bugs, can make it in between the sliding glass door and the sliding screen door. Um, so it doesn't matter what I do when I open this up at night and put the fan in to suck the cold air into the house. There's like a half dozen new baby stink bugs that come in every night, and then they're climbing across the TV screen, climbing into my coffee pot. More than once, I've poured the dregs out in the morning to make the new pot, and there's been a stink bug in there. There's always stink bugs in the sink. I've learned that if you squish more than 5 stink bugs, it the stench does, even though they're the teeny tiny little baby ones. They're not the big ones. They're the teeny tiny little baby ones. More than 5, they are able to make enough of a stench as to make the girls uncomfortable in their home. It's really awful, but it's also it's weird. The stink is kind of reminiscent of the smell of paper towel. Weird. I don't know. I don't know why, but yeah. Now every time I go and rip a piece of paper towel off, I get the smell, and it's like stink bugs all over. Hello, Squaw Bob. How you doing? My Columbia, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of the icing. I know I didn't have the tune, but hello, how you doing? Oh, pray you're in Alabama, eh? Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. We did. We talked about that, and I said I'd let you know when my trip does get officially booked. I Alabama's the other place I have to go. There's whole tons of people all across your lovely country that I want to visit and meet and get to know. But there are 2 places that I have to get to on my first trip with my passport. And Alabama is one of those places. So yeah, when I finally get it all figured out and sorted, I'll let you know and see if we can't meet up somewhere along the way. The toilet always flushing is okay until the sewer's back up, right? And Mr. Q saying he'd die of heat stroke this time of year in Alabama. Yeah, and that's why I had originally, before it took so long to get my passport, I had originally planned to have been traveling in April. So it would have been ideal time to visit Alabama. So that unfortunately didn't work out. I'm kind of tentatively hoping September, but yeah, I just don't know. Unfortunately, it wasn't, it wasn't a huge. My folks aren't rich, so when my dad sold the house, he was able to shoot me and shoot all of us kids a little bit of money, but it wasn't tons of money. And unfortunately, it took so long to get the passport that life events popped up that cost money, and thank God I had that money sitting there, so I was able to do things like take the girls to the vet when they got sick and stuff like that. It also whittled that money down to the nothing that I've got now. So I've got a little bit of money saved. I think I've got half of my train ticket money. Yeah, I think I've got one way paid for. but I've got to be able to afford to come back too. So it'll be a bit. Um, yeah, it'll be a bit, but we'll do it. I'll figure it out, and sooner rather than later. It's not like we've got all the time in the world. So if I have to, I will drive. I will rent a car and drive and figure it out. That beer is very nice. It's kind of overcast because it wants to storm again, which means it's humid, which isn't doing well for my pain at the moment. But cold beer does make it feel a little better. They're skylights and there's nothing efficient about them. They just do what they're supposed to do and let the light in during the daytime so that you don't have to have all the lights on. Rich people thing. Yeah, we were looking at the two skylights at Mum and Doug's old place because they had it like got full sun all day long. But the room was so dark, that big picture window, but as soon as the sun got just almost overhead, that room got very dark. So they were going to do those two skylights to basically act like pot lights. But it ended up it was cheaper in the long run to just put in long rectangular skylights. But yeah, I remember now looking at them with Mum and Doug. Pretty nifty. Yeah, definitely rich people thing. Fill some holes says, I only saw one apartment building that had an elevator. Yeah, well, and that's a problem too. Elevators are great. But what happens if there's an emergency and the elevator doesn't work? He can't be on the third floor. He can't, it's so he really needs a main floor apartment, which is damn near impossible because you folks in Minnesota, you like to have your half up and half down. Which is a pain. Squaw Bob saying, I love the way she says out. Do I say out in a weird way? Hello, Lass. How you doing? Can't stay long, but wanted to stop and thumbs up. Well, thank you so much, Lass. I appreciate it. I'm assuming you're talking about my area. And yes, it is gorgeous. I really do live in the closest thing to heaven, in my personal opinion. Between BC and Alberta, we can replicate any other environments on Earth. That's why Vancouver is considered Hollywood North. It's really cheap and easy to film out in BC, and yeah, we can replicate just about anywhere. So it is gorgeous, and all the lower mainland on the coast, it's rainforest. And we've got borealis forest, huge, hundreds and hundreds of years old trees that have never been touched. And then I'm in the Okanagan. I'm in dead center. It's a beautiful valley. We can grow anything you want here: cherries, apples, grapes. We have all the land in the world to let your cattle or what have you roam, or at least we used to before the province stopped allowing farmers to use provincial lands. But that's a whole nother thing. That's why we're on fire. But that's a whole nother thing. Yes, the government likes to make life tough. Lady Autumn Science is saying, yeah, you could always sleep in the back of the U-Haul. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can rent a U-Haul for $19.99 per weekend. That's not bad. The $20 for a weekend. Now, if it takes me a weekend to drive there, and then like $100 for the week to keep the vehicle for the week once I'm there, and then take that next weekend driving back home again, that's like $140 plus whatever the gas costs, right? So suddenly the road trip is sounding a little bit more feasible. And yeah, I have no problem sleeping in the back of a I would be okay with it. I love camping and stuff. I am not a girly girl. I do not glamp. I camp. Or at least, I mean, I haven't camped in years because I don't have a car, so I can't get myself to anywhere to camp. But I don't mind tenting it, sleeping on the ground, all that stuff. And yeah, like I said, the U-Haul is really freaking inexpensive. Um, I'd be looking at $1,000 or more renting a vehicle. But the U-Hauls, really cheap. That's saying cheers, no alcohol for me. Been California sober for 20 years. That's fun. Good for you. Yeah, I've been clean from hard drugs since 2012. Um, I had two separate incidents of slips um nearly pardon me, but nearly a decade ago. Um, but both of those were one-offs that I smartened. And yeah, so other than those two bumps, I've been off all hard drugs since 2012. And like I said, it's been like a decade since those two slips. Um, so yeah, I'm it's nice. I know that I know how alcohol affects me. So as long as I'm responsible about that, I can drink. I don't drink often. I mean, there's a reason I had a single beer sitting in my fridge for like a week or more. It's I don't really drink. I only bought them because of a thing I was doing. Um, but yeah, that's about it. I much prefer to be California sober. I much prefer it. As I said, I did hard drugs. I was a functioning addict. I was able to get up and go to work and do my job and live life and everything. High as a freaking kite. It's just what I was able to do. But life is a hell of a lot better nowadays. And if it means that I need to put up with more pain and stuff and stick to, marijuana as one of my main pain relief sources, so be it. I would much rather that than let the doctors do what they wanted to do, which was put me on opiates for the rest of my life. Because I knew if I actually started taking those opiates, even if they were prescribed, that was it. My sobriety was gone. Everything was gone. So I realized at the end of the day, I would much rather hurt more and treat my stuff with marijuana and non-opiate prescription meds than do that. Because yeah, they were more than willing to put me on fentanyl pain patches and this, that, and the other thing. But I don't want to be that person anymore. So, but I love the term California sober. I hadn't heard it before, I think last year. And I find it really funny because to me, the pot has nothing is completely separate from sobriety. I don't pot to me isn't. I don't know. I guess I just don't look at it the same as I look at it at alcohol or opiates or like LSD even. For me, marijuana is just it's been a lifesaver at the end of the day, I guess. It's, it does enough that I can tough out the rest. Hello, Pen of Bishop. How you doing in the post-COVID world? Is that is that the California sober term? I think honestly, yeah, I think California sober was a term I didn't hear until post-COVID. I'm a little over 1,700 miles away, and that's just to the border of BC. Right. Yeah. I am roughly 6-hour drive from my dad's place on the coast. And then I'd be another hour to 2-hour drive to the Peace Arch border crossing. So that's 8-hour drive just to get me to the border. And then it's an hour drive from Peace Arch to Seattle. and then however long it would take me to drive from Seattle to St. Cloud. It's a lot. It's a lot. Your Penske from California to Alabama was 2,500. See? Yeah. Yeah. 2 days driving straight or 3 days of 10-hour driving. Yeah. With the train, the round trip ticket that I'm looking at with the train, it's 45-hour travel time to get me from Vancouver to St. Cloud. So yeah, I need to get sleeper, like a little, they call it a roomette, which gets me a bunk and a private toilet and shower. Well, semi-private. I'd share it with whoever else is in that bunk. Yeah. Yeah, I love that term, California sober. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Subdural, thank you. That was the term for the little needles and the pain patches that reach further. Thank you. Subdural. I knew there was a word, but I just couldn't pull it out. Hello, Saint Caesar. How you doing? Hope all is well. Send our love to Johnny. Yes, definitely. Yeah, his PC kind of shat the bed. For those of you who may not have heard earlier, his PC shat the bed, so he's spent today troubleshooting. Worst case scenario, he'll have to factory reset and spend the weekend putting it all back together. So let's hope he doesn't have to do that. And then we will reschedule the fundraising stream once he gets his PC back up and running. So, and the good news is his daughter and the kitties are healthy. It was none of them. Unfortunately, it was his daughter's mom. She is in the hospital. I'm not sure what for, but anyone who prays, feel free to pray for them or for her. And yeah, in the meantime, he's got to play full-time dad while she's in the hospital, which is going to make everything, that much more fun trying to fix the PC so he can work. It's just, he can't win for losing at the moment. It's just, it is what it is. But when you're getting kicked, when you're down and almost out and you're getting kicked in the balls on the regular, usually that's the time when something, God manages to find a way to give you the relief or the answer, the thing that you need. So yeah, I'll let him know that you're sending your love there, Saint Caesar. I appreciate it. Okay. Prey used to live near Antioch, California. She could have just taken the baby to John Muir Hospital, and it's a trauma hospital. Well, I think that's what happened with the lady is she took her burned son to the closest hospital, and the closest hospital said, we can't take care of that here. We need to fly you to the trauma hospital. And she said, well, I will drive him to the trauma hospital. And the original hospital that she got to wouldn't let her drive. They forced her to take that helicopter. So that's, yeah, I'm pretty sure she said something along those lines, that she wanted to drive, but they wouldn't let her out. They wouldn't let her leave with her son because he was so badly burned. Good Lord, Mr. Q. Nikki's younger son, when he broke his arm like a month and a half ago, it was probably about $15,000. See, that's insane. I can't imagine that. I mean, you're a young couple, you've got a baby, or a toddler who falls and breaks their arm. Now suddenly you've got thousands of dollars worth of debt on top of it. Like I can't imagine. I am so very lucky. I've just known that if something happens, if I get sick or injured or anything, I just go to the doctor or go to the hospital and they will treat me. And there is no need to weigh the, can I afford to go to the hospital? How sick am I? There is none of that. You just go. So yeah, I can't imagine. 18 bones in the wrist were broken. I believe the copay on the insurance was 4,200. And so you're just supposed to, not only do you have the emergency of the injury or illness, but now you've got, large bills tacked on top of it. And if you can't afford to get to them right away, they're collecting interest on those bills. And, then you've got the debt collection agencies, which love to get involved. Yeah, I can't imagine it. I've been in a position where I was dodging calls from the collection agency. It was not fun. It was not pleasant. I can't imagine having to do that, just to get your kid taken care of. I can't imagine. Yeah, like I said, they had to fly her. From what I understand, she said they wouldn't let her take her son and drive there. They forced her to fly. So, hello, smiles a lot for you. How you doing? Good to see you. Mention we still have to pay cash for an ambulance here in Canada. At least I'm sure we still have to. It's not covered. I'm not sure because I had to take an ambulance. Well, mind you, it was probably 12 years, 13 years ago. I was still living on the coast. I had to take an ambulance and I was never given a bill for it. I know that it's a thing, but I was lucky. I didn't have to, I was never sent a bill for it. But yeah, apparently we're supposed to have to pay for the ambulance here, but I haven't actually run into anyone who's had to. Maybe it's in BC. We don't have to yet. Maybe it's a specific or a special to BC thing. But yeah, I've had friends take the ambulance since living here and they've never been hit with bills. Thank God. Mr. Q, isn't Canada responsible for the Asian beetles, the aka stink bugs? You brought them from China like COVID to the US? I don't know about the stink bugs. There was something. It's a pine beetle. That's what it was. It was a pine beetle. They weren't stink bugs. It's a pine beetle. And yeah, they came over and they ravaged our forests. It's been long enough and there's been enough fires now. I highly doubt there are very many pine beetle dead trees still standing in our forests in BC. But yeah, unfortunately, we've got one of the main ports in the West Coast in Vancouver, and we have imported an awful lot of things that we did not mean to import, not least of which was the pine beetles. Yeah, they decimated our forests. It was awful. Praising millipedes here come in and made the mistake of squeezing one and it stinks so bad. Oh, yeah, see, I don't. Millipedes. I mean, millipedes and slugs and snails, and they're nifty. But I'm sure glad that I don't have to worry about a millipede in my house. I mean, I've woken up. I actually wake up on the regular with spider bites, which I then they hurt and itch, so I scratch them in my sleep. But you can see there's a few little red dots. I'm assuming that was mom and these were babies. That's my assumption. But yeah, so it's quite common for me to wake up with spider bites. I have been awoken a few times this summer by the stink bugs crawling on my face. Not pleasant. But yeah, I wouldn't want to have to wake up to a millipede in the bed. Or walking down the hallway late at night trying to go pee and step on a millipede. Cat puke is bad enough. Mr. Q, it's almost like we should blame Canada, right? Right? Fall is pretty down south. Yeah, it is. And again, that would be the next best time for me to go and visit Alabama because humidity kills me. Humidity is the worst thing for my fibro. Can't stand it. I can't function. I mean, like I said, it wants to storm again, so it's overcast. Considering it's only 20 after 5 right now, it's pretty dark and overcast out there, and the humidity has gone through the roof. So I'm hurting. It's not fun, but it's nothing compared to living on the coast in a rainforest. And I can imagine that living on the coast is nothing compared to Alabama in midsummer. you know. So yeah, I'll stick to early spring or fall when I'm visiting Alabama. Hello, Dorothy. How you doing? Join the Let's Conquer Canada Saturday movement today. If you don't help conquer Canada, you don't get to help rule over the Canadian slaves. Aw. Hiya, Dorothy. How you doing, bud? We got rocks and cows, swamp and jack pines. Prey saying they charge for mile here for with the rental vehicles. Yeah. St. Aaron saying get a truck with a cab mattress, you're set for travel. Well, and that's what made me think U-Haul, because a U-Haul is super inexpensive to rent in comparison to like a rental vehicle, like even a like little sporty thing or a sedan or a truck, doesn't matter. I can rent a very tiny U-Haul van for way less way less money, and it's easier. There's less hoops to jump through to get a rental vehicle from Canada across the border. Apparently it's a bit of a difficult thing. So I don't know. Especially if I'm driving what is an empty U-Haul. Shouldn't be too big a deal. I can always, like you were saying, I think it was Prey was saying earlier, I can just sleep in the back. Not a problem. Mr. Q saying, I didn't go camping the other night, but we made the kids go camping, and then we all went out in the field because I woke up early. We watched the Perseid meteor shower. That's so cool. I can never, anytime anything in the sky is happening that I can actually see it, guaranteed without fail, it's overcast. Guaranteed without fail. I've seen the Northern Lights more often from my the family home in the town where I grew up on the coast. I've seen them more often down there than I have living up here. And I live, within 40 minutes of Vancouver down there. And I live in rural nothingness here. And yet it's always overcast. Wait, you're Canadian? I know, Buck. I'm so sorry. I tried to keep it hidden, but the secret's out. I'm a Canuck. I'm sorry. I'll understand if you don't want to be my friend anymore. I'll get it. Yeah, see, Dazzer's in the same boat as me. Every year, without fail, it's overcast. Yeah. Can't. Just can't. I can't win for losing with that. Yeah, thank you very much, Lass. And it's funny. I was thank you. I was under the impression that I'd been sober for longer than I had been. It had been years, and then I bumped into a friend of mine. He and I got sober within a couple months of each other. We ended up meeting up we ended up at the same home group, and yeah, years later, and I had thought I'd been sober for X amount of years, and we got in contact and we're chitty chatting again, and he told me no, we sobered up in 2012. not 2009, 2012. So I had to refigure things for a bit. And now I just remember that it was 2012. As long as I remember the year, I'm okay. But yeah, I thought I was a lot sober for a lot longer than I actually had been. Yep. Pots for pain, alcohol just dulls the pain till the morning, right? And 9 times out of 10, um, alcohol will leave me hungover for days. Not just the next day, but it'll days to recover from a hangover for me. It's not fun and it's not worth it, you know? But the pot, yeah, I can smoke pot all day long till I'm blue in the face. I might be a little bit slower, a little bit dumber than normal, but I'm still me. My personality doesn't change. Um, I'm still aware of what I am doing. There's no blacking out or anything like that. So yeah, I much prefer being just using pots and the lesser pain meds and staying away from the opiates. I mean, I don't mean to be that guy, but if you make excuses for the marijuana, you might want to examine your relationship with it a little closer. True, Darth, true. I get it. And like I understand that in theory marijuana is well, that's not true. Marijuana is okay for you. It's the way that I get its medical benefits that is not so good. I smoke it. Um so there are better ways of getting the treatment. Unfortunately for me, edibles have never worked for me. They've never done anything for me. I can eat pot cookies all day long and not even get the slightest buzz. um, so unfortunately, so far right now, all I've got that I know of is to smoke the pot. But I put it up to God a long time ago. Um, and I've told him many times if he can show me a way um, to get my pain relief, my medicinal benefits without having to smoke pot, I will do it. I will switch in a minute. Um, I just haven't been able to find anything yet, you know. So I'm willing to try if there is something different. I'm willing to try it, but right now that's the only thing I've found that I can use and still be myself. Sandy saying 33 hours from Washington to St. Cloud. Okay. There you go. Yeah, and the train is going to be a little longer. Like I said, the train trip that I'm looking at is 45 hours. But it's train, right? Like you're not going straight from one to the other. So, sweets, get off there now. Meow. Yes, I know. I think it's almost that time. Yeah, it is almost that time. That's why climbing up on my counter like it's okay or something. Sandy's saying I drove it once many years ago. Maybe it was 33 hours to Fargo. So 36 probably. Yeah. Yeah, and I would love to drive. I do love to drive. Um I haven't been able to afford to own a car for many, many years. But being behind the wheel of a car is the only time in my life I've ever felt completely free of anxiety. Um, no matter how bad my day was, pardon me, no matter how bad my day was, if I could just hop in the car and take a boot, um, go for a boot, I'd feel so much better. So I have no problems with doing it as a drive, other than the the money. Thanks, Digger, young couple. Well, you guys, young enough. But can you imagine? Like, I can't. How do you do that, right? You work all day, all night. You're, a farmer, and you take control of, or you take care of properties, and you're constantly busy. I can't imagine now suddenly you're stuck with this huge bill that you've got to find a way to pay. Because something happened that happens to most kids at one point or another in childhood is they break a bone. Oh, Mr. Q is saying Asian carp. Okay, I haven't heard of Asian carp. But you guys in Minnesota have been invaded since 2014. Oh, yeah, I can't remember when. I think it was pine beetles, probably around 2010-ish, roughly, when the pine beetles became a thing. But they really did decimate the forests out here. Put alcohol on spider bites. Interesting. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Blame China for everything. I'm okay with that. Snakeheads are a problem for most of the US, I think. We've got rattlesnakes out here, and we've got a couple others, but for the most part, rattlesnakes are the ones you gotta look out for. But as long as you're, smart about it, make noise, watch where you're walking, don't walk in the long grass. Yeah. I had a friend get bit by a brown recluse spider down in the southern Minnesota. He had to have necrocospy skin graft. He needed to have a skin graft. Blah, blah, blah. Yes. Necropsy. I can't say it. I know what you're talking about. I do. Yeah, we've got the brown recluse here. I don't care what AP says. The internet is 50-50 on whether brown recluse live in BC or not, but I've seen them with my own eyes. Which reminds me, I was meant to take a picture of one. It's summertime now. I'll have to do that. I'll have to try and remember and go find a good nest and take a picture of one for him to prove it. But yeah, one of the neighbors got bit by a brown recluse, and thankfully he raced immediately to the hospital, and he was okay. But yeah, they can be very, very dangerous. Those snakehead fish can walk on land to get to new water sources. Wait a minute. Snakehead fish? Snakeheads. I thought that was just a type of snake. Like just a normal snake. Snakeheads are actually snakes that can walk? I don't like the idea of that. Hello, SH. How you doing? I don't like the idea of that. No. Not at all. Yes, October in Alabama would be beautiful. You just got to pray there's no hurricanes, right? Oh, you switch rental vehicles at the border. There you go. Yeah. Well, that's if I drive all the way to, I guess, what is it, Manitoba, and then come across the border there. My plan all along has been to find my way, probably rent a vehicle to drive myself to the coast. And then once I'm on the coast, I've got family and friends. Someone there can drive me to Vancouver to put me on the train. And then from there, it's, all the way along. But yeah, I just imagined if I was going to do the road trip, if I was going to drive it, I would still do the same thing. Cross at the Peace Arch Park and go through Seattle. We belong in, we've got, or my dad's got, belongs to this thing in Birch Bay. So I've always imagined it. I would just be driving. I'd leave here in the morning and drive down to the coast and then stop, say hi, grab a bite to eat, drive straight over across the border, and then spend the night in Birch Bay. And that would be like my first night on the road trip. But I mean, like I said, it's uber stupid expensive to rent a vehicle. So if only all the wishes I made came true on all the shooting stars, I'd be rich and famous and all that stuff by tomorrow. Yeah, I know. I've off the table. Thank you. Yeah, I've made a fair few wishes on shooting stars as well. Snakes eat the bugs. Yeah, never heard of a snakefish. Neither have I. I've never heard of a snakefish. I don't know that I like that. I mean, that would, to me, I'm imagining an eel, but I can't imagine a snakefish that walks on land. That's Praise saying I tried pot and got paranoid, but I get people using it for pain. Actually, if you're wanting to use it for pain purposes, you should try a CBD only. Usually the paranoia comes from the THC and the other cannabinoids. CBD in and of itself shouldn't cause any of the paranoia or anything like that, and still give you the pain relief. Why am I petting you? You're on the table and you're not supposed to be. This is why she keeps doing it, because I'm just silly and I pet her and then I realize that she's not supposed to. I'm an awful mom and they have got me wrapped around their little fingers. Ever thought that maybe you're supposed to have the pain though? Perhaps. You're talking from a more spiritual perspective, right, Darth? Perhaps it's I don't know. I know I don't function at all without it. It's the same as the antidepressants that I'm on. I tried getting myself off of antidepressants, but I got to a certain point, and any lower dose or any less, and I was suicidal again. I was there again. Sometimes meds are necessary, and I do live with a lot more pain than I necessarily would have to if I was willing to use the heavy opiates for pain relief. I choose to deal with more pain than necessary, but stick to pot and not and keep myself as well. I don't like myself when I'm stupid drunk. And I don't like myself. I didn't like myself when I was an addict. The pot doesn't change me. I'm still myself. So if that means I have to put up with more pain than I necessarily have to, so be it. I'd rather do that and, stay myself. And yes, the train is so much fun. We did it as children. My mom took my little brother and I by train from the Okanagan to the Lower Mainland to visit my dad for Expo. Was it Expo 87? And we were traveling. It was so lovely. It was so lovely. We traveled that time by train, and there was still snow on the ground. I don't know if it was pre or post Christmas. We were little when we did that train trip, but there was definitely snow on the ground. I remember seeing. So that wouldn't have been the Expo trip. We went by train. It would have been for something else, because Expo happened in the spring, summer. So that was definitely not the train trip, because there was snow on the ground when we were on the train. But either way, yeah, the train was a blast. The train was so much fun. Honestly, if we still had Greyhound in Canada, I would have been on Greyhound. I would have visited by now. I love the Greyhound. I relied on it for most of my life for traveling. If I didn't own a car, that's fine. I had the Greyhound, and it would pick me up anywhere and drop me off pretty much anywhere. But Greyhound left Canada about a year before COVID. So yeah, there's no way. They've got I think they call it the e-bus now. They've got something that was supposed to replace the Greyhound. It didn't. It only picks you up at certain specific locations, and it'll drop you off at certain specific locations. Greyhound had a stop in every single town. Even the tiniest little podunk towns, they had a stop. Whereas now the e-bus, I'd have to find my way to the closest large city, and then it would only take me to the closest large city to where I want to go and visit, which is not a large city. So then I'd have to find my way from that large city to, my hometown to go visit my folks, for example, that sort of thing. It's a real hassle. But yeah, if we still had Greyhound, I would have Greyhounded. I would have been there by now. The train is fun, though. It was a beautiful experience, and I can't wait to do it again. I don't want you to be a pain, but I also don't want you to be a slave. The Canadian slaves thing was a joke. I know, Dorothy. I gotcha. I know. Yeah. Talking about traveling by train. Yeah. I put alcohol on everything that itches. Spider bites, bee stings, poison ivy. Interesting. I've never heard of that. I know I've got a mosquito bite balm, which is really great. It's made from the bee, the bee pollen, or the bees, whatever that they collect the pollen and they make it, and then they use that as the main ingredient for their mosquito bite balm, and it's phenomenal. And allegedly, it's because it's being made by local bees. It treats the local skeeter bites better. But I even took it with me to the coast, and it worked for the bites from the coast too. I've never used alcohol, but then I grew up in a non-alcoholic house. My dad is a recovering alcoholic. He sobered up 2 years before he ever met my mom. So there was never any alcohol in the house. It just wasn't a thing. So that may be why I don't know all the health benefits of it. If you feel that way about driving a car, you should drive a tank or a piece of heavy equipment or something like that. Feels great to drive 19,000 pounds payloader. I know. Oh my goodness. I would love, they've got that children's show, the big vehicles or big trucks or big something. I used to love watching it. I was living nanny for a couple of different families. And I used to love to sit and watch that with the one kid, Declan, that I was a living nanny with. He loved any huge machinery. He loved. And yeah, the vehicles that we would watch on that kids show were just so cool. I would love to play in those. Aw, so glad to see y'all. Thank you, Digger, for streaming. You lift spirits. We'll pray for you and Johnny and his family in our prayers. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pray. I appreciate it. If you're encountering fiddlebacks, get out of that crawl space or basement. Necrotic is the word I'm trying to say. Yes, thank you. Necrotic. That's the word I was trying to say. Thank you. Snakehead fish, invasive species. They can crawl, hop, and walk with their fins on land for short distances. They're crazy. That sounds crazy. I don't want to meet one of those. I'm okay if I spend the rest of my life without ever thinking about one of those existing. I really don't like that. Actually, Neurodivergent one is saying, I just noticed you're streaming from your user account. That's fine. Just remember, followers on the channel account will not be notified. Streaming from the channel notifies both. I know that. I don't know. I can't figure out how to stream from the channel as opposed to my user account. So if you've got any ideas on how I can change that, because I don't know how to get it to set up to the different account. If you know how I can do that, that would be great. Because yeah, what I've been doing since I did that is I've just, after the fact, after the stream, I'll go back and add it to the channel account so that it'll be there if people go to look for videos. But yeah, I don't know how to set up so I'm streaming from the channel account. So if you've got any ideas, I'd love to hear. Paranoia doesn't come from the THC, you don't think? Paranoia comes from the police. But ching. Thank you very much, you smartass. Any human who would cage another human for smoking some plant is a subhuman piece of shit. Yes, well, yes. Oh, Johnny, sorry to hear that. And yeah, that's just a few minutes ago. So Johnny's saying the computer is still effed. Ivy's mom is staying overnight. Thanks for the thoughts and prayers. All right. Well, thanks for the update, hon. I appreciate it. Yes, my kitty taking a bath. I would love to get Greyhound back. Or if this new e-bus or whatever they call it that was made to replace the Greyhound system, if it had just stuck to the Greyhound routes using the pre-existing Greyhound stations, it would have been great, but they didn't. And the Greyhound stations have been closed and boarded up and repurposed and all that sort of thing. And the e-bus is just stupid. It really is. It's dumb. Very pointless. I've even been tempted to get a ride to Birch Bay with my dad and stepmom and spend the night there and have them drop me off at the Greyhound. the Greyhound in Birch Bay or closest to Birch Bay, and just Greyhound from there the rest of the way to Minnesota. That's another. I haven't priced that out. Maybe I should. Maybe I should price that out to see just how expensive it would be to Greyhound. Because I feel, considering I've got like severe anxiety and social anxiety, and I don't feel comfortable in strange places. I've ridden Greyhounds so much of my life that I'm comfortable on a Greyhound bus. So it would be uncomfortable at the stops that I've never been at before. So there'd be anxiety in that part, but as long as I'm sitting on the bus, I'd be fine. So maybe I should check into exactly how much that would cost too. Another thing to look at. The closest thing I want to say we have for a train stop around here is Amtrak, and that's probably 25 miles away at least, and you'd be sitting there for a while for a layover. Actually, there are three different Amtrak stations in and around St. Cloud, Minnesota. So as long as I knew which one I was coming into, I could tell Johnny and he could come grab me. But yeah, I was surprised. There's actually 3 stops in and around St. Cloud, Minnesota. But we won't offer service to any of the French part because fuck them, right? Screw Quebec. They can figure out their own bus. Well, and you know, too, there, if all goes the way it looks like, some people, pardon me, some people want it to go, we could have the Republic of Western Canada, and perhaps Greyhound would want to come back to the Republic of Western Canada. You never know. Alcohol does good to dry out the affected area. Okay, interesting. Avon Skin So Soft. Holy cow, Bishop. I haven't thought of Skin So Soft in ages. We had that when I was little. That stuff was amazing. And what was the other stuff? Seabreeze, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was called Seabreeze. I think it was also from Avon for sunburns. Not drinking the alcohol. It's for the itching. You're talking about rubbing alcohol, putting it on the itch. Yes, I figured that much. Thank you. I figured that much. I've got 99% alcohol. I've got a few bottles of 99% alcohol because I have a bong that needs to be cleaned on the regular. So I will try that next time. Next time I get bit by a spider, because yeah, I'm always waking up to spider bites. Hello, Uden. How you doing? Good to see you. What happened to Johnny's family? Just got here. Is he okay? Yes, Johnny's okay. His daughter's okay. And the cats are okay. His daughter's mom is in hospital. So that's we're not sure or at least I don't know what's wrong with her, but she's in hospital. Sounds like she'll be staying overnight in hospital. So he's got to be taking care of his daughter a little bit more, and then so that's going to take away from the time that he was hoping to use to try and fix the PC, because his PC shot the bed. So yeah, just one thing after another. Hopefully he's good. It comes in 3s, so hopefully we've got our 3 covered and things can go a little bit more smoothly for him now. Crossing fingers. Hello, Patrick. How you doing? Good to see ya. Poor Digger. And I mean poor because she has to pay $1 grillion for robbery yard. I don't know what robbery yard is, but There's no more Greyhound, not in Canada. Yeah, they ditched. They said it wasn't being used often enough to warrant their staying. That being said, I was never on a Greyhound bus that wasn't filled full. Um, and I rode them regularly right up until they stopped servicing us here. Uh, last I heard of it, some crazy guy beheaded a passenger for no reason. That was here. Well, that part didn't happen in BC, but they both got on in BC. And yeah, dude was hearing voices and had a psychotic break and ended up taking other dude's head off and eating the eyeballs and doing all sorts of awful stuff. Found guilty, but it was due to mental illness. So they put him in the psych ward. He spent a few years there. They released him and he changed his name. And now your guess is as good as mine as to where that man is now. So yay. Makes you feel really good and safe, right? Beheads a man, he eats his eyeballs in front of the other passengers, and he's out within like 4 or 5 years, and he gets to change his name. Send Digger a limousine and a private jet to take her to the Greyhound station. Right. SH is saying 3. I only know of the one downtown. Well, it pointed out 3 things. It might be outside of St. Cloud, but still in that area. But they said St. Cloud. Like, it wasn't like it was Minneapolis. It wasn't like it was a bigger city. I don't know. It's been a while since I checked my Amtrak thing, but I'm pretty sure they said 3 because I was surprised. I'm like, wow, it's an awful lot of train stations for one town that isn't like, Chicago or something. No, I watched the first season of Stranger Things, but then I lost my Netflix access. I was on my mom's Netflix, and they did that. Got to be in the same household or within X amount of clicks of the person, that sort of thing. So yeah, no, I lost the Netflix account access, and I never did get to watch the rest of the Stranger Things. Just the first season. I actually I was very lucky. I was able to binge watch The Boys with Johnny. We finished season 4 last night. And that is probably the coolest TV series I've watched since Supernaturals, probably, for just the scare value and the gore, as well as the comedy and the story. Yeah, really great show. I really enjoyed The Boys, and I can't wait for season 5. It's too bad that there's only going to be 5 seasons, but sometimes that's better than trying to drag it out for 8 or 10 when the best of the series was over in 5. What is Robbery Yard? I don't know what Robbery Yard is. Oops. Oh, no, I don't want to mute anyone. No. I just wanted to click over because I did see there we go, $1. Thank you so much, Neurodivergent One. I missed a bit, but have you tried Lyrica? It works well, but expensive if insurance doesn't cover it. Lyrica, I'm pretty sure I was on the no name brand at one point or another. I've been on antidepressants and I hate to say them, antipsychotics, because then it makes me sound like I've got psychotic issues, and I don't. Strictly anxiety and depression. But I've been on a zillion and one different antidepressants and antipsychotics and SSRIs and you name it. They've put me on it at one point or another. I did wean myself off as much as I could before. Like I said, I got to a certain point, and suddenly the anxiety and the suicidal thoughts and everything was back again. So I've learned that I can't live without the antidepressants, but I've got myself on the lowest possible dose. So I'm getting, I don't need to take in, a whole bunch heavy doses like they did have me on at one point. For a lot of my life, I was on super heavy doses of antidepressants, and I didn't like that feeling. I was kind of just a zombie for a lot of my life. That's why I used hard drugs. There's the reason I was a functioning addict. The hard drugs allowed me to live life like you normal people. I was able to function in society with the hard drugs. So I've I've got myself down to the absolute minimum I can live with. But I learned the hard way that if I got rid of this amount, I'd be hooped again. So I just saw the rant. Yes, thank you. Sorry. Patrick saying he's doing great. That's good. That's good. And Sandy only knows the one downtown as well. Okay, so maybe I misunderstood. Maybe they were not all in St. Cloud, but they were close to it. But yeah, you guys in your Amtrak is freaking phenomenal. You can't do that here in Canada. If you want to ride the trains as a passenger, as a traveler, your only option is to buy one of the preset tours. Whereas with the Amtrak, you guys, it still runs. It hits all the different stations. I can buy a ticket from here to there. If I wanted to, like, say, change it and stay longer at one place or leave early to get to the next place early, I can do all that with the train. So it's a lot more flexible. And I can end up just about anywhere. There's stops everywhere, all over America. It's not the case with Canada. We've got rail that runs all across this country, but it's mostly for delivering stuff, not people, but stuff. Patrick saying, awesome, love the boys. Yeah, it was really cool. I was a special effects makeup artist. That was the career I was going after. It's the schooling I went through was for that. And I love blood and gore. I really do. It's especially the campy blood and gore. Like they did a face rip in one episode of The Boys. Phenomenal. I was laughing hysterically. I thought it was so great. And a few times there was gore. And Johnny just had to laugh at me because I'm laughing at the gore. Most people would be cringing and ew and I'm just laughing at it. I'm loving it, and I'm sitting forward and looking at it and trying to check out how they did that. Like I said, when I saw the face rip, I was so excited because I'd done a lip rip before, and the lip rip was a really cool special effect to be able to build and apply and see it being used, and that was so cool. But to be a part of a whole face rip, that would have been great. That being said, the face rip, you didn't get to see the face without the face, and the piece of face that was dangling was definitely CGI. Practical special effects makeup is mostly a thing of the past these days. Most everything is AI and CGI, that sort of thing. But yeah, Patrick loves the horror movies too. Yeah, I love it. And then the campier, the B movie, tearing off an arm and you've got the spurt of blood that just keeps spurting, just randomly for feet away. That sort of thing. I love it. I love it. Loads of fun. Oh, shoot. That is my landlord calling me. It's been 2 hours specifically or exactly. So I'm almost caught up. Hello, Fallen. How you doing? Turned into footpaths in the U.S. Just sitting here singing the monorail song from The Simpsons. All right. So I'm going to call it right here. And that way I can talk to the landlord and see what's going on. You guys have a lovely evening. I will see if you'd like to join me on No Fucks Given, all one word, Rumble only on Sunday. I will be there at 3:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we do pub type trivia, loads of fun. Otherwise, I will see you hopefully Monday with Johnny. You guys have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Topics change from day to day. Science, art, or history's play. No path to twist, no trail to ditch. He dives right in where to be. pure. From ancient lore to future dreams, every question finds its gleam. Wherever she goes, answers will follow. Into the depths or up high in the hollow. Curiosity calls, she's ready to find solutions to everything on her mind.